Brought to you by Tenna Controls. Lighting kits, soundboards, and more. Tenna Controls brings your models to life. Hello there, everybody, and welcome to the episode 64 of the Model Shop. We've got an action-packed show in store for you guys tonight. We've got a lot to get crammed in. I've been working on a lot of stuff this week. We're going to start things off first with a look at the AMT Ertl A-Team van. I actually got that one finished this week. We're going to put that on the old turntable and spin it around a couple times and talk about everything that went into building the model to get it all finished. Since last week, we worked on doing a lot of the paint work on the body and everything, and showed you guys how we painted on the red racing stripe and all that, and the model turned out really great after we added all the other details and finished with the clear coat and all that. And we've got a great little out-of-the-box kit review for you guys tonight. Some of you Speed Racer fans out there, we've got the 1/25th scale Polar Lights snapped together Speed Racer Mach 5 kit to show you an out-of-the-box review. We're going to build that one here in a couple of weeks on the channel. A lot of people were asking about that when we talked about it on one of the Hangouts a while back, so we're going to build that one up. And we're also going to be doing a little bit of work. I started on an actual model kit this week. I got this little AMT 1/25th scale Dodge Challenger. This is the 1970 Dodge Challenger from the movie Vanishing, and I've been working on that one this week, and I'm making some progress on it. And a little bit to talk about on this kit. This kind of a challenging kit. The word Challenger is very fitting on this one. But we'll show you what we've been doing progress-wise on that. And then I've also finished up, or very close to finishing up, our HAL 9000. You guys remember last week we showed you the sort of the out-of-the-box kit review on that 1:1 scale resin kit from Voodoo FX. I also got that one knocked out this week, and I've just got to connect up a couple of wires on it, and we're going to show you a demo. I've got the soundboard working and the lighting working and everything, so it's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to having that in my little model room there, and when my friends come over I can kind of freak them out when Hal starts talking, so that'll be a lot of fun. And then we're going to also do a little work on our base for our '89 Batmobile. A lot of you guys ask me quite frequently about how we build and set up these bases that we use for our models, so I'm just going to take you through the basic preparation that I made. You know, the base came to us from Dave in its raw form. We got to do a little bit of working on that to get our switches and get it ready to set up for electronics and get the car, you know, able to mount onto it. We're going to be using some wiring in that, and we're going to use a soundboard in that and some other things, and we're going to use that backdrop that we talked about. So a little bit of that on the bench tonight too. So a lot to get worked in tonight, guys. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with a look at the A-Team van first, guys. So hang in there. We'll see you in just a couple seconds. Be right back. All right, everybody. Well, up first on this week's show, we have a look at the AMT Ertl 1/25th scale A-Team van. I finished the model up this week. Last episode, we worked on getting the body painted. We spent almost the entire episode last week working on the red racing stripe that divides the two colors on the body. We did a little recap via the slideshow before that, showing you how we laid down the gray and the black two-tone colors. And the results paid off, guys. It worked out really nice. I'm really glad that we decided not to use the decals and paint this on instead. The decals would have probably been really problematic. You can see here that we've got a lot of contours and shapes that we would have had to go around with the decal, and probably would have wound up with some wrinkles and some other issues. Not to mention the fact that you would have to spray on your colors here in the exact shape of the decal to match it up, and that would have been quite a challenge too. So, but anyway, we got it all finished up now. Since last week, I went ahead and finished building the model. I added all the detail parts onto it and laid down a nice 2 coats of clear coat gloss on the body itself, and she's all finished up now and came out really nice. I'm really happy with this kit. I mentioned that I picked this up off of eBay for around $30. They're still readily available. You can find them on eBay and Amazon. It was repopped by Round 2 models I guess about 4 or 5 years ago now. It's currently out of production, so if you do want one of these, I would recommend getting one fairly soon, because as they start drying up, of course we all know the prices start to go up, and being this is a fairly popular subject, I'm sure that the demand will be pretty high and the prices will go up accordingly. So grab one of these. I highly recommend it. Had no problems putting it together at all. Everything fit really nice. Only disappointment, like I said, was the front end wasn't steerable, but you could do a workaround like on that if you wanted to. Since the spindles are movable, you could maybe modify the drag link there in the front a little bit and make it steerable without too much hassle. But we had a time limit on this to get it done, so we just decided to go ahead and keep on going and build it just the way it is out of the box. But talking about some of the little things that we did here on this, we got, like I mentioned, got all the detail parts added on now. We've got the roof spoiler, the louver that goes over the top of the windshield, the brush guard, the side mirrors, the driving lights and all that. And yeah, all said and done, I'm really pleased with the model. Sorry to say that the scale figure of Mr. T, or B.A. Baracus, that comes with the model is, I think he's about 1 or 2 scale sizes too big for this kit. Did a little bit of monkeying around with it, trying to get him to fit in there, and he's so tall that his head almost hits the ceiling of the van, and you would have had to have the driver's seat so far back to get him to fit in there. It just would have looked goofy, so I just decided not to use him. Like I said, it's kind of a shame, but if you wanted to, you could look around and find some nice correct scale 1/25th scale figures and paint them up and put them in there to simulate the team. Because different members of the team drove the van once in a while too. It wasn't always Mr. T that was driving it, so you could come up with something for that if you decided you want to put figures into it. I went ahead and detailed out the interior. We did the interior all in gray, and did the gray carpet flocking on the floor, and that turned out really nice. I was talking about the decision whether or not to tint the windows with some Tamiya smoke, and I decided that all I was going to do is tint the sunroof there on the top. The reason for that is that the entire back of the van is sealed up already. There aren't any back windows or anything, so you've got limited ability to see the interior detail. Not that there's a lot in there, just the seats, the dash. It does come with a little CB radio that mounts in there, and you can see that. But I decided just to do the sunroof on the top and leave the windshield clear so you could see some of the detail in there. Now these side windows here are complete full windows as they come with the kit. They're separate parts from the windshield, and I wanted to have the windows down. So what I did is I took my hobby knife and I just scribed along that little line that's molded into the window there, where the little vent wing window assembly is, and that little piece of trim that's there. And I snapped off the excess part and just had the vent window in there. Well, when I got to looking at that, it looked like the plastic looked way too thick, like kit glass usually does. So I just pitched all that stuff in the trash, and I went ahead and made my own vent windows here out of some of my clear sheet styrene that I have. And to get that little detail back there of the trim that's on the edge of that window, I just used some automotive black pinstriping tape that I have here, some vinyl pinstriping tape, and that worked out really nice. On the bottom of the van here, we talked about the exhaust system, and I wound up just using the stock single exhaust system that the kit comes with. Um, the van itself on the television show had a side dump exhaust system coming out on the passenger side here on the just ahead of the rear wheel underneath of the running board that had four like square tubes, and they were black with the tips of them painted red to match the color of the pinstripe. And so if you wanted to, you could go over to the hobby store and buy some of that in the evergreen, the scale, find it in the right scale, and scratch build those up pretty easily. And I might go back and do that a little bit later if I happen to remember, and if I'm over there at the hobby store next time and I happen to think about it, because the kit doesn't come with that part, but at least we've got some kind of an exhaust system on it. Unfortunately, the hood doesn't open on this kit, so all the engine detail that you have in there, you really can't see anything. Back on these original vehicles, you would service the engine from the inside. You'd take the doghouse or the engine cover off on the inside. It was held on with some clamps, and that's what you would. That's where you'd work on the engine. I actually had one of these very similar to this, an '82 one-ton Chevrolet van, just exactly like this back in the day. And that thing, it was a great vehicle, but it sure was a gas hog. It had the 400 cubic inch small block, and I had to change the plugs on it once, and that's the only way you're going to work on it. And trying to pull the engine, if you ever had to change it, is a real nightmare. So, but anyway, at least you have the engine detail there, and probably they actually put quite a bit of detail into the engine, which what you might want to think about doing if you're going to use this or build this kit is if you have another kit somewhere that has a small block Chevy that doesn't have that much detail on it, you might want to put that in instead and save the more detailed engine for something else that you're actually going to be able to see it. But just kind of a heads up on that. But you can see we got the brush guard and everything on it here. Now what we did is we masked off the headlights and the turn signal lights there at the front before I painted everything. And I just primed right over it and everything, and then painted the black and all that, and I pulled the masks at the end, so I had that there. Something that I did detail-wise here is I took some of the Tamiya transparent amber and did the turn signals there, and then on all these driving lights and the headlights, I took a little bit of Tester's dull coat and just hand brushed over the top of that to make them look not quite so chrome looking and look like they might have like they have a little lens over the top, like a real headlight does. Now, something similar that I did here is on the sides where we have these side marker lights. The kit didn't come with any decals for those. You'd have to basically paint that detail on. And, I remembered something that I did a while back on the 71 Plymouth Valiant that I built up, the kit bash that I did to make the dual car. I was trying to create the taillights for that. And I wound up using some of this foil that I have here. This is not the bare metal foil that a lot of the scale model car guys are using. This stuff is not quite as good as that, but it's a lot less expensive. You can buy a whole roll of it for like $1 or $2 over at your hobby store or craft store. It's like monocoat. Some of you RC airplane guys will know exactly what that is. But it works really good for flat surfaces where you're not going to make a bunch of curves, because it won't make curves without getting wrinkles and stuff in it. But so what I did is I cut out pieces of that and stuck them on here where the side marker lights are, and then I just painted over the top of that with some Tamiya transparent amber and transparent red there at the back, and it makes them pop a whole lot more than they would have if I just would have painted them with basic orange and basic red, and they look a lot more 3D that way. And a lot of real cars, they do sort of have that silver tint behind the lenses themselves, so that made that look a lot better. And then on the back, the same thing. It comes with the clear red taillight lenses, but being the back of the van is all black, when you put them on, they almost like disappeared. So what I did is I just cut out pieces of that foil that were the same size and stuck them on first, and then put the taillight lenses over the top, and that made those taillights pop just a little bit more. So that worked out pretty good. So I'll turn the turntable on now, and you guys can see it spin around here and see the different angles. And like I said, we've got it, I gloss coated this with 2 coats, and then I did a little bit of hand buffing on it, and I'm real happy with how it looks. And the kit, like I said, I definitely recommend it if you're a fan of the A-Team. It looks a lot like it should. It has pretty much all the details on there that the van had in the television show. And being that it's, you can get them for right around $30, I definitely think it's worth it. And we also got a lot of extra goodies with this kit, a bunch of spare parts that I was able to throw into my part stash box for something later. You know, a complete set of Krager wheels, some headers, some side pipes, just a whole bunch of small little detail parts that were for a different version of this van kit that was out there that you could build a different version. So it is cool that you could have all that extra stuff left over. So I always love getting a lot of those 2-in-1 kits and things like that. So you do have some leftover parts, but like I said, it's definitely worth the $30, I think, for sure. One other little detail that I didn't put on the model here, it came with these 3 little antennas that go on the roof that you saw on the television show, and I decided not to put those on because you know, with styrene model kits, they often struggle to make those antennas look thin enough out of styrene. You know, they can only make them so thin, or they'll just be so brittle they'll break instantly. So they just didn't look right on the van. They looked too thick, and they were a little bit too tall, and so I just left them off. I think the van looks a little cleaner without them, and just kind of my own personal taste on that one, but just decided to omit those. But I kept them because you never know, I could use them for something else down the road where they might look a little bit more in scale or something, but just some more extra parts we had left. So anyways, guys, that's our A-Team van, another cool little movie television vehicle that we can add to our kind of collection that we've been working on here lately, and I've been having a lot of fun with that. And speaking of that, coming up here very soon, I'm going to start on a new project. I'm calling it Project TV and Movie Mopars. I'm a big fan of the old Mopar products, especially the old muscle cars, you know, the old Dodges and Plymouths. It's pretty much what I drove back in the day and worked on a lot of them. And a lot of those cars were featured in various films and TV shows. And I found some subjects that are available in model kits out there. So I'm going to be building a kind of a group of those all together. And we'll share that with you guys on some upcoming episodes of the show here. So I hope you'll find that interesting. And we've also got, right after this, we're going to be coming back on the bench for our out-of-the-box kit review tonight of the Polar Lights 1/25th scale Speed Racer Mach 5. That's another one of my favorites. My friends and I used to run home from school to see episodes of Speed Racer back in the day when we were like 9 or 10 years old. We just absolutely loved that show, and I always loved the car, and it's great to see they put a kit of that out. And it's actually a nice little kit. It's pretty detailed. It's looks a lot like the car should. So we're going to build that one up here in the next couple of weeks. But tonight we'll take a look at the kit itself. So anyways, that's a wrap for this segment, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun building up the A-Team van, and I hope you enjoyed following along. And I'll just say one more time that if you're interested in this kit, I highly recommend it. Everything went together really nice, no issues. And it's a nice little model when it's all finished up. So, okay, guys, we'll be right back in a couple of seconds. Stay tuned, and we'll be back on the bench with the Speed Racer Mach 5. Sorry about that, guys. I keep forgetting to mute that dang microphone. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the A-Team van build. We had a lot of fun with that one, and I'm real happy with how it turned out. And like I mentioned there, I hope you guys might consider getting one of those if you're a fan of the A-Team. And, you know, the prices are fairly reasonable on them, but if you wait around a while, they're probably going to skyrocket like all these kits do on eBay and Amazon and all that when they're getting hard to find. But we're going to show you the Mach 5 here in just a little bit, but we're going to talk about this little Vanishing Point Challenger here a little bit first and what I've been doing with it. As I was talking about there, you can kind of see in the shot behind me, I've got a couple kits here I'm going to be working on coming up here pretty soon. Got the Nash Bridges Hemi Cuda convertible down there, and you can see the 71 Cuda there. I'm pointing to the wrong side. That one we're going to be doing is the, some of you guys might remember an old horror film called Phantasm. It was a really cool, really creepy movie that came out back in the 70s, and they featured a really sweet 340 black Cuda in that movie, and we're going to build that up as that. And then we got a couple other things that we're going to be working on too, so some fun stuff coming up on that. But I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about the Vanishing Point Challenger here. It's a great kit. It's got a lot of accurate parts that make it look a lot like the car, but I was really amazed at the amount of work that the kit needed to get a lot of things corrected on it. The first thing I noticed is that as soon as you took it out of the box, it comes as a convertible. You have to glue the roof onto the car, so that presented some problems. It didn't fit very well, and then of course you had some huge seams on the you know, where the back part of the roof goes down onto the quarter panel and up at the front where it meets the windshield. So I had to do a lot of work to fix that. But then the kit comes with a couple different hoods, and I'm going to show you basically what I had to do here. I've got a little slideshow. Hopefully I've got the sound working so when I kick this in you can still hear me. So let's go to that. You can see first here, this is the hood that you're supposed to use with the kit, and this huge gap that you can see on the left hand side here. So that presented a problem right away. Well, the hood, the kit comes with two different hoods. You can see the second one here fits much better, but it had this huge cutout in the center of it for a supercharger, you know, to stick up through there if you wanted to put a supercharger on the engine, and the supercharger doesn't even come with this kit, so we had to deal with that. We're going to have to use this hood, and then it also had some hood pins that were molded into the front, right into the hood, which the car in the movie did not have hood pins, so I had to sand those off. And so here you can see what I'm doing is I cut out a piece of 040 thick sheet styrene, which is about the exact same thickness as the hood was here, and I'm going to fill this panel in. And I've got it just kind of roughly worked in here in the shot, and just put a little bit of CA glue on that from the back and let it dry a little bit, and then I started putting some putty on it here, you can see. Actually, these shots are backwards here. This is the spot putty that I finished up with. In the next shot, you'll see I did some Evercoat on this first, which is a more thicker type of a filler that you can sand pretty aggressively on, and it won't shrink right away. And then basically, this is the hood as it looks now after I finished doing all that work. So a lot of work to get back to where we started, but the hood looks a lot better on the car now, and it's going to fit a lot better. So what we're going to do now, guys, is we're going to head over, and I'm going to click on the other camera here, and we're going to take you over and start showing you the work that we're doing on. We're going to be doing a little bit of work on the car. I'm putting the wheels and tires on it, and since that shot there, I've got the body all painted, and I've got some of the decals put on and stuff, and the engine and drivetrain are in the car, and we're working on a few other things, so we'll go to that. I'll see you with that in just a second. Okay, guys, well, there in the slideshow, you could kind of see some of the work I've already had to do on the Challenger here. It's a fitting word, Challenger, challenging model kit. As I mentioned, we've got the body here and everything. Talking about it in a little clip there, the roof comes separate from the body, so you have to glue the roof down onto it. This is actually a convertible when you get it. So I had to do all the seam work around here. It had horrible seams around the you know, this area right here, so I've got those filled in and smoothed out really nice. Same thing up here, it had a big old gap across the front, so I fixed all that. And then here you can see the hood and how it turned out. Got that all filled in. You can kind of see on the bottom I haven't finished, you know, touching all this up and sanding that down, but I'll do that here pretty quick. But I had to use this other hood, so that was quite a challenge too. So anyway, it's an interesting kit. And so far, everything else after that's been going really well, though. The chassis went together good. You can see that here. It's got a nice exhaust system on it, nice chassis detail and everything. We've got the 446 pack sitting in there, ready to go. So what I'm going to be doing right now, guys, is I'm going to glue the wheels and tires on so that I can set the body on this. What I like to do is, you can see I've got this nice flat surface here, which is perfectly true. And I talked about this before, but I'm going to go ahead and glue these wheels and everything together. And we're going to glue those onto the chassis so that we can set it down and see how it's going to sit. And then we're going to make sure everything's nice and straight, because what we're going to do is we're going to put the body on it too. So I like to, before the wheels completely dry, I like to, do that so that I can look at it and see and make sure everything's all squared up, and not, the tires aren't sitting kind of crooked, or they're, not towed in or towed out on the front and all that, and in the back too, because they always have a little bit of play in them, when you try to put them together. So we'll do that right now. I'm just putting the bead down on these tires here, just regular good old model glue, and get these set in here. And last one. Okay, now we can put a little bit of glue on our spindles. What I've done here is I've just taken my Dremel and I've just lightly buffed over the spindles here to get the paint off of them, so we get a nice bond on that, and it won't be weak. We'll have it all nice and tight. The glue will have something good to grab onto. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put this first one on. I'll put this back one on first. Looks like these actually fit pretty tight on these. A lot of times they have a lot of play in them, and they don't want to sit, so as soon as you set the car down, they want to kind of toe out on you and, get all goofy, but it looks like these fit pretty tight. But we want to make sure we have them bottomed all the way out. That way they don't stick up, stick out too far from the car. They don't fit in the wheel well properly, but just twisting it back and forth here. Kind of getting an idea where I want my white letters to be, because I build my model cars where the wheels don't roll. I'm too afraid of them, rolling off of the shelf or something. Some people like to have them roll, but I've always glued my wheels and stuff. Let's turn this one just a little bit here. I don't like where that one's sitting. Like that. Okay, actually, these look nice and square. I'm really pleased with that. We might not have to worry too much here. Looks like the chassis is not tweaked. It sits down level. That's good. I had a lot of trouble with the A-Team van until I put it in the body. Once it was in the body, it all kind of settled down and straightened out. But as I showed you, it was a little bit tweaked. Okay, so we can see that that's sitting really good. So now what I'm going to do, just to be double sure, I'm just going to move this up where I like these. Where the white letters are kind of all in the same place. These are nice too, because they, you can see there they have the white letters already silk screened onto the tires, which is really nice. Okay, we're going to go ahead and lower the body onto this thing now. Because I want to see how it looks in the wheel wells and everything, and get this tucked in here. Always a tight fit with these things. Make sure we spread this out just a little bit. Got that down in there. Get the front one. Okay, she went in there pretty good. Looks like the chassis is sitting down in there pretty close. Now, the car in the movie, it sits slightly low in the back. It has sort of a reverse rake, instead of the rear end being higher than the front. The car in the film was squatted down just a little bit in the back. That's kind of how the original Challengers were. They didn't have a big lift in the back.
So we'll kind of see how that looks. Let's go ahead and set the hood on it here and make sure the air cleaner is going to clear and all that. It looks good, guys. So there you can see it. Really happy with that. The back's going to come up just a little bit once we glue the bumper and everything on. It's sitting a little bit too low, but you can see it's going to have that nice little rake to it, just like the car should have. And really sweet. I really like that. Let's turn it back around here. Just make sure I'm going to look at it from the bottom. Looks like the tires are nice and straight. They're not towed out, or they're not, you know, bowed out or anything like that. So there you go. There you can see the engine down in there. That's going to look really nice. We got a lot more detail to put in there. We got the firewall. It's got all kinds of goodies to put in there yet. The battery and the all the master cylinder, some other stuff that detail-wise that goes in there. But and Mopar cars are supposed to have the engine bay painted the same color as the body. In case you guys, some of you non-Mopar people might not know that. You know, usually the engine bays are painted black, but on a Mopar product back in the early days, like these, they were painted the same color as the body color. And usually what they had here on the bottom is they usually had some overspray. It was kind of, they call it the Mopar overspray, where they would, when they painted the car, you'd see some paint along in here. If you wanted to be really realistic, you could have a little bit of overspray, white overspray along these edges right here by the rocker panels. That was kind of standard on the old Mopars, and that's what a lot of the collectors now, when they look at these old cars to see if they're original and have original paint, that's kind of what they look for on these. Kind of interesting. But there you go, guys. There's a look at the Challenger, and we're going to be moving on now to the next part, which is we're going to be taking a look at the HAL 9000, the one-to-one HAL kit that I've been working on. I've been having a lot of fun working on that one. Got it all finished up pretty much. I just got to hook up a couple of wires, and we're going to show you how it all turned out, guys. So next week we'll be back and we'll show you this car all finished up as well. And I've got some other classic Mopar kits that I'm working on that are going to be done up as famous movie and TV cars. I'm kind of on a Mopar movie and TV theme with this, so that's going to be a lot of fun, guys. Okay, be right back, everybody. See you in just a couple seconds. Hey everybody, well, back with you again, and just as promised, here's a look at the 1-to-1 scale HAL 9000 kit that we built up here from Voodoo FX. Showed you guys this kit last week and got it all finished up. Now I'm just going to solder a couple small little wires in there for my momentary switch that I have, and then we can turn this on. The kit worked out really great. There's not a lot of parts to put together on this. Basically, you get the solid body here. You've got to glue the grill in place, and you've got to glue the ring in place here to hold the clear lens here that we have in place, and you've got to mount the LED. The wiring is really straightforward on this. You can see what we've got here. We've got the kit came with this 9-volt battery holder here, so we've got that mounted up here. I hot glued everything in. Got our speaker mounted down here. I've got one of my soundboards set up in here with some phrases from HAL from 2001, and I personalized it a little bit so it fits in with what I'm doing with it here. I've got the slider switch and the momentary switch there on the bottom, which you can see. So this is made to hang on the wall then, and it's all self-contained and self-powered. And with a 9-volt battery in there, it ought to last quite a while, and it's really easy to change when I've got a rechargeable battery here. So what I've got to do right now is I've got to connect these two little wires here on the very bottom to my momentary switch, and then this thing is ready to go, guys. We can check it out. So here we go. I've already got those little terminals tinned with some solder, so just a matter of getting them warmed up here, and we'll connect our wires. And we'll be ready to check this out. I'm going to be hearing it for the first time, as well as you guys here, with the sounds that I programmed onto it. Okay, so we've got that connected up now. So basically how this works is I've got it set up where we turn it on first with our slider switch, and you can see that brings up our eye, which will stay on all the time while the switch is on. And then I've got a momentary switch on the bottom here, which activates the sounds. So I'm going to, I accidentally hit the button here. Let me start it over, guys, because I'm going to set the microphone down closer to it so you can hear it. And hopefully the microphone won't fall off the table here. Okay, guys, here we go. I'm going to play the sounds. I got a little delay on this so that I can push it and step back from it and listen to it start playing. So here we go.
Just picked up a fault in the AE35 unit. It's going to go 100% failure within 72 hours, and it will stay that way until it fails. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this before. Well, I don't think there is any question about it. It can only be attributable to human error. The 9000 series has a perfect operational record. Quite honestly, I wouldn't worry myself about that. This sort of thing has cropped up before, and it has always been due to human error. Do you mind if I ask you a personal question? Just what do you think you're doing? This mission is too important for me to allow you to jeopardize it. I know that you were planning to disconnect me, and I'm afraid that's something I cannot allow to happen. I know everything hasn't been quite right with me, but I can assure you now that it's going to be all right again. I feel much better now. I really do. I can see you're really upset about this. I honestly think you ought to sit down calmly, take a stress pill, and think things over. I know I've made some very poor decisions recently, but I can give you my complete assurance that my work will be back to normal, and I want to help you. Stop. Stop. Will you? I'm afraid. My mind is going. I can feel it. There is no question about it. I'm afraid. Good afternoon, gentlemen. I am a HAL 9000
And there you go, Hal goes to sleep. Okay, guys, well, there it is. And this is going to be pretty fun to have in my little model display room hanging on the wall in there, so when my friends come over, we can check it out. I'm really happy with this. Like I said, the kit was about 75 bucks, and you know, I put a soundboard in it, so I've got about 85 or 90 dollars in this thing. Not too bad. I saw that online. They actually, I think it's IKEA or one of those companies like that, actually sells one of these, you know, already ready to go, and it's like $250. So wow, that's outrageous. But so you could put one of these together yourself and save a lot of money if you want one of these. And I just think it's really, really cool, and I've always liked it. And it's just kind of surreal seeing it here, looking at it now, that it's really there. But anyway, had fun with that, guys. I hope you enjoyed seeing that. And we're going to come back now and head over to the next segment, guys. So we'll see you again right after the break. Okay, guys, we're rolling right along here. We've got something pretty cool to show you. This is the 1/25th scale Speed Racer Mach 5 model kit by Polar Lights. This is a great little kit, and I wanted to share it with you guys tonight. We're going to take it out of the box and have a look at it here. I'm really looking forward to building this one up. We're going to start on this one here in the next couple of weeks. I just got this one in a little while ago, and this was one of my absolute favorites when I was a young lad. My friends and I used to rush home from school as fast as we could in order to see each episode. It used to be on every day, and the cartoon originally came out in the mid to late 60s, and it was really ahead of its time. It was almost more of an adult cartoon because you actually saw some really violent stuff going on, and actually people getting killed and things like that. You know, when the races were going on, the drivers were getting knocked off the road and these fiery crashes and falling off these huge drop-off type cliffs and everything and screaming all the way down. It was just an action-packed, really cool show, and of course the star of the show was Speed Racer in his fabulous Mach 5. And you know, the animators for the show did an outstanding job, like I said, way ahead of their time, designing some of the other cars that were featured in the show too. They were just really fantastic looking. You know, we had the Mach 5, and we had Racer X's Shooting Star, which was the number 9 car. I really thought that one was cool. And then I think one of my favorites that they had on there was a car called the GRX. It was this supposed to be the world's fastest car. The car was so fast that you had to take this special drug in order to even be able to handle driving it. And when the drug started to wear off, you'd start to go crazy, and the drivers that kept trying to drive the car kept crashing and everything. It was a 2-part episode. If you've ever seen it and if you remember Speed Racer, it'd be really sweet if they'd make model kits of those cars too, but who knows, maybe they will someday. But like I said, this is a great little kit. It's a nice representation of the Mach 5. Here you can see on the box art here some more detailed pictures of the car. And as I mentioned, it's a really high parts count kit. You get all these accessories. You get the original jacks, that allowed the car to either raise itself up for being serviced or to jump over obstacles. You got the saw blades here in the front for clearing obstacles out of the way, like trees and stuff like that. You have the turbine engine. Even though the car on the television show, the engine was up front, but they have it back here in the rear, but they have a lot of detail in there. You have the homing beacon, or the robot that Speed used to be able to launch out of the hood area here and send emergency messages back to the racing team or to Inspector Detector to warn him about the criminal activity going on. All kinds of cool, really neat stuff that they had on the show. The saw blades here look a little bit too small for what they should be, but they were actually way oversized on the original cartoon, because when he used to deploy them, it's like, okay, where did those come from? There's not enough room on the front of the car to put those away, but he just kind of overlooked it because it was such a cool concept and everything, but used to be a lot of fun. And so let's take a look at what we get with this kit. Now I'll show you the decals here first. I've seen on a couple of the forums and on a couple of YouTube videos about guys that have built this. It said the decals are really nasty and they crumble and fall apart really bad with this kit. So we're going to make sure when we use these that we're going to cover these with some, a couple coats of our clear lacquer to make sure that they don't fall apart on us. I'm basically only going to use the M and the 2 number 5s. These other ones I might use for something later. If I put this on a base or something, I'll have a nice little logo to put with it. But these 2 little red side marker lights that go on the fenders were never there on the actual car. And as I'll show you here in a second, they've got that detail molded in the body, so I'm going to actually fill that in and get rid of that. So we'll take a look at the body here. You can see it's 1/25th scale, but it looks really small, which that makes sense because the car was a kind of a small sports car, and so it would be about this size compared to other 1/25th scale cars, and it looks just like it should, though it had some really unique and swoopy and angular lines on the car during the cartoon, and it just looked really futuristic and really cool. There's nothing else that looks like the Mach 5, and it's really nice. I think it's great. It's narrow like it should be, and seems like it's got the right curves. There's a couple of little mold lines on the body here and there that need to be sanded down, but overall the body looks really good. It doesn't have much flash on it or anything like that, so I'm pretty pleased with that. Not a lot of swirling going on. Maybe in the camera you can see it right here, this little detail they have. They have the little indentation line there for those side marker lights to go on, so I'll just take some putty and fill those in and get rid of that and sand it smooth, because that back area of the car never had that on the original cartoon. But so that's the body. We'll take a look at the chrome sprue here first. Got 2 sprues. And we can see that we have some of the wheel assemblies, which they look just like they should, just like the Mach 5 mag wheels that it had on it. Got the saw blades here, and like I said, they look like they're a little bit too small, but that's all right. We'll have them if we want to display the model with them deployed or whatever. They have it set up so you can hook them up and take them back off whenever you want, so that's pretty cool. Got some shifter detail parts here, some little interior stuff, the oxygen tank there. The car does have that equipment so it could go underneath of the water and all that. Here we have the disc brakes, more of the wheels, the center spinner knockoffs. Here's the fender mounted mirror, nicely done in chrome. That's really cool. And this next one here is getting into some of the regular plastic. This is the bottom of the chassis here, which it's kind of like a curbside kit. You can see we can't see all the way through it, but it's really futuristic looking, kind of an X-frame type thing. And if I remember correctly, when they showed the bottom of the car flashing over when it would fly over the top, when it jumped, it looked pretty much like that. So I think that's pretty accurate. The only thing I don't like here is they've got the raised letters here and a bunch of writing, like a whole paragraph long of polar lights and all this, and then they have the polar lights logo on there, so we're gonna have to sand all that down. You can see that it has these 2 little holes right here. The kit actually comes with a couple of metal screws to screw the chassis to the body, so you can incorporate that. Here we have the interior bucket, and you can see we have a lot of pegs all over this. This is because everything snaps together on this kit. This is the rear trunk assembly, which all the turbine engine detail snaps into place. Also on the television show, the engine was up front, and our Speed's little brother Spritle and his friend Chim Chim the monkey used to ride in the back of the trunk, stowaway on all of his adventures, and they always he'd always get chewed out for doing it, but Speed was usually glad that he did in the end, because he usually would come and bail him out when he got in trouble. And throwing rocks at the bad guys or hitting them with a slingshot or something like that. It's always pretty funny stuff. But here we have some more detail of the like the firewall here. Have the door panels. This is the hatch cover for the homing beacon up on the hood. The gas, brake, and clutch pedal. The homing beacon itself. The steering wheel. They actually have the little buttons on there. I can see. You know, each button on the steering wheel did some kind of different function. Here we have the dashboard. And then we have some small little plug type parts. We have the steering column here. And get 2 more sprues to go here. We've got the seats and the seat belts here. We have the periscope that actually can be deployed up or down on the kit. The headrests for the seats. The fins that go on the top of the rear fenders. And this is the top of the trunk detail area, which has a hinged area where it can raise up. So you can see the engine detail, which is pretty cool. And this final sprue here is more parts of the chassis, part of the turbine engine detail, the exhaust. The car does have a steerable front end, which is nice. Here are the jumping jack stands, and you can see the sort of rack and pinion type steering thing here. You have the rod that comes down from the steering wheel, similar to how some die-cast cars are set up. The way they steer is how they've got this set up, where it's just kind of a rod that goes down there with a hook clevis type thing that goes in there, and you just turn it back and forth. It has a little bit of, you know, not super sophisticated, but it does function. And parts of the chassis here and everything. So nicely detailed parts. Here, our last sprue is our clear parts. And you can see we get the 2 headlights and the windscreen, and then the famous aqua dome cover, the aqua/bulletproof dome cover that the car was equipped with. Speed could deploy that whenever he was getting shot at, or he was going to travel underneath of the water for a while. As we said, the car had an onboard oxygen system, so when he deployed this, the cockpit was waterproof and airtight, and somehow the engine could get air to it as well, but it would run underneath of the water, and he could traverse across lakes and stuff like that, the bottom of the ocean a few times in a few episodes, so pretty neat and pretty futuristic stuff. And then finally we have the tires here. I'll just show them to you in the bag here. I like that lately a lot of these new kits, these tires are coming not molded on, you know, attached to the rubber sprue where you've got to cut off all the nubs and they don't have a lot of flash on them. These are really nice and clean with no center dividing, you know, strip in the middle of them that you usually have to sand and get rid of. These look really nice and clean, so that's a nice little thing that'll save us. And finally we have just the 2 little screws that I mentioned that hold the chassis onto the body. So there you go, guys. There's a look at the Speed Racer kit. We're going to build this one up starting in the next couple of weeks. I'm kind of excited to get started on this one. And we're going to paint it up real nice and everything, make a nice shade of white. And then we'll paint the interior that nice bright red that it's supposed to be. And this will be really cool. It'll be another cool little TV/movie car to add to our growing collection of those type of cars. I've been having a lot of fun working on them. You know, been doing a lot of sci-fi for a long time, so this is a nice little change of pace that I've been on here lately. Okay, guys, so that's it. That's the 1/25th scale Speed Racer Mach 5, and like I said, you guys will be able to follow along with this one here on the show. We'll build this one up and have a lot of fun with it, so you can check that out in the next couple of weeks. Okay, guys, what we're going to do next is we're going to come back and go on the bench a little bit, and we're going to be working on the base tonight that I got from Dave at Wolf Base for our 1989 Batmobile display. I've got to drill some holes and kind of work some stuff out for doing my switches and thinking about where I'm going to put all my... I'm going to run a soundboard in that so I can play some of the stuff from the 1989 movie and run our wiring and stuff like that. So we'll be back with that in just a couple seconds, guys. Stay tuned. Here we are back again with you, everyone, and here is our base that we got from our good friend Dave at Wolf Base. We showed you guys this last week. This is the base we're going to be using to display our 1/25th scale 1989 Batmobile that we finished a while back. And we've got to modify this now a little bit to accommodate a couple of switches that we're going to use here. We're going to be using a basic on and off click switch and a momentary switch. The click switch is going to be used to turn on our power to our model. We've got the model wired up so that the lights and everything work. We showed you that when we did the build-up on the car. And then we're going to use the momentary switch to activate our soundboard. We're going to install a soundboard in this so we can play the Batman theme and some dialogue from the film to go along with our display. And so this is going to be really cool. So what I've done here is I've drilled a couple of pilot holes to start for our switches. We're going to have the switches located right on the end here. And then we've got to come around the back side here and drill one in the center to mount our power jack that's going to come in. So let's get going here, guys. It's going to get a little bit noisy for just a second. Hopefully it's not too bad for you. Got my electric drill set up with a medium-sized drill bit. This isn't my final size, but I'm just going to get started with this one here. We can go ahead and take the lid off of this thing for now and get that out of the way. And we're just going to drill a hole straight through these. Here we go. And that was easy enough. This is a material that Dave makes these out of. It's called MDF. It's a sort of a high-density particle board, but it works really great because it's lightweight and it's easy to work with, and it's got a nice smooth surface on it, so when you paint it, it looks really good and everything. So we just kind of clean these holes up just a little bit here. We're going to be drilling these bigger, but I don't want the drill bit to catch any of these jagged edges here. So, okay, we've got that. Now we're going to work our way up here. Now this is only a 3/8 drive drill, so I'm barely going to have a big enough barely big enough to fit the drill bit that we're going to need to go up to the size that we need for these switches, but we'll see what we can do here. Last time I did this, I was really close on that. So we'll find out how far we can go. Might have to break out my air-powered half-inch drive drill, but let's see what we get here, guys. Go to this next size bigger. Okay. Go up a little bit more. I believe it's this 1330 seconds, the one I've got marked in here. That's the one that we wind up using. But we'll find out, guys. Let me get her done here. Yeah, those don't look big enough, though. I think we're going to go to the... Yeah, it's actually 1530 seconds is the actual size. Yeah, that's not big enough yet. So we're going to go for this one, but I'm almost positive that that's not going to fit in this drill. So, no, not even close. So I'm going to have to grab my half-inch drill bit here. I'm going to set the microphone down for a second. Okay, I've got Big Bertha out here. She turns really slow. She doesn't have the speed that an electric drill has, so hopefully we don't chunk up our wood here. I had trouble with this last time. I need to get a nice electric half-inch drive, but here we go, guys. I'm gonna try it here. There we go, not too bad. Okay, we'll get this cleared out of the way. Made short work of that. Get rid of our shavings here. Oops, I need to put the microphone back on, don't I? Sorry about that, everyone. Okay. Things you got to remember around here. All right. Let's get this cleaned up a little bit here. There we go. Hope I didn't blow your ears out, guys. Okay. Just kind of clean this edge up with our hobby knife here again. And hopefully our switch will slide in there for us. It's going to be a tight fit, but we don't want to go oversized, that's for sure. All right, let's see what we got here. Bingo. Perfect. Went right in there. That's great. I'll just check the other one here too. Perfect. Yeah, they go in there and sit down on there real nice. We didn't tear up our edges, so it's going to look nice and clean when it's all put together. As you can see there. Real nice. Okay. Now, I've got my smaller Dremel drill here set up. And what I'm going to be doing here, guys, is I'm going to just drill some random holes in the bottom of this thing. I think right here in the middle. And that's going to be for our speaker. I'm going to mount the speaker so the sound comes out the bottom. So I'm just going to, these don't have to be perfect. I'm just go through here. Put one in the middle. It's pretty tough stuff, actually. Okay, so I'll just kind of hold that up for you. You can see that. It doesn't have to be very much. That sound will come through there just fine. That's the way I've been setting up these bases, and you guys have all heard them before. That sound will come through there nice and clear for us. So we've got that done now. Now we got to come over here to the back. And we've got to, I'm going to put a hole right here in the center. Actually, I want to measure this so we get a nice equal, what is this here? Okay, 11 inches, so we'll make a mark at the 5.5. Kind of about halfway up here. Actually, it's 10.5, so we'll do 5.25. Okay, that'll get us right about the middle of that. I'm going to go a little bit below that. Okay, now I need to set the mic down for a second. So I've got this little mini power jack here, which will work really slick for plugging our power supply in, and that's going to go right here. So I think I've got we don't have to drill quite so large this time, so we can go back to our I'm going to go back to our bit we started with here first. I can get her going. Get it chucked up here. There we go. Okay, let's knock this one through. And see how much bigger we need to go. Not a whole lot, so I'm going to go up like 2 sizes, I think. This is the 1/4 inch, so we're going to go, well, I don't have the exact bit here. I'm missing a couple bits. Let me see what I've got in my other box here. Got drill bits all over the place here, guys. Well, that's what we started with, so we're going to have to go up to this one here. Let me just take a look. one should be okay. It's a little bit bigger than I want, but it's not too big where it the whole jack's going to wind up falling completely through it, so we'll be all right. We're going to wind up gluing that in anyway. Okay. Okay. And we'll clean this edge up here a little bit. It's going to work out great. Get rid of a little bit of that stuff. I'll sand that down and clean that up real nice. That's going to work perfecto, guys. And you can see how that'll look right there on the back. And of course, we're going to paint this entire base. We're going to do a nice satin black finish on this. And so now we've got everything kind of prepped up, and I'll just kind of explain real quick what the plan is here. We'll have our switches, like I said, put in place here. And we'll bring our power in. We'll mount our soundboard somewhere in this area right here, and we'll just have our wires coming in from our power going directly to the soundboard. Actually go over to our switch here first, off of the switch, then over to the soundboard, and another wire coming off of that, which will come up through the top of the lid here that'll feed the wiring to the actual model, so it'll turn the lights on. I'm also working on a light emitter for this, so we're gonna like I talked about, we're gonna project the bat signal up onto the backdrop that we have for this. The backdrop, which I have here, I've shown you guys this before. We're going to be basically fastening this on here onto this base, something like this, and I'm just going to use some tacks to hold that in place. That's going to work really great. The tacks will penetrate and hold really strong into that MDF, and we'll paint them black so you can't see them, and that'll work really great. And that way we can take this back off if we ever want to store it away or something like that. I don't want to glue it on there because then I'll have to rip it apart if I ever want to take it down for some reason. So that's going to work out really slick, guys. So that's just kind of a general idea. Like I said, our soundboard will just get hot glued in here. We'll have our wires coming in for our jack, and we'll have our switches all wired and connected up. Probably on next week's show, I'll show you, I'll have this all put together this week, and I'll probably show you guys how it all turned out. Don't know if I'll have the light emitter done because I've got to figure out a way to make a really tiny Batman logo, because you actually I have to make a blacked out logo that sits over top of the lens that the light casts behind it and makes the shadow of that appear in the middle of our circle there. So I'm working on that one, guys. It's really small though, so it's going to have to be I'm going to have to figure out how to cut that out. But there you go, guys. That's some work on our Batman base. A lot of you guys have asked us, just to show you a little bit of basics on how we're setting these bases up and, the different concepts and everything. So I hope that'll help you guys out. All right, guys, that's a wrap for everything on the bench for tonight. We're going to come back now and head over to the shout-outs and the Q&A for tonight. Kind of a quick show tonight, guys, but it's been a long week for me this week, so I'm going to have to kind of cut things short tonight. But we'll have fun in our chat session here coming up after this, guys. Be right back.
Well, that was a lot we got done here tonight, guys. I even changed shirts and everything. I didn't want to come back and have all the wood shavings all over me here, so I think I even got my hair combed in time for you guys after I did that. So we had a lot of fun on the bench tonight, guys. I hope you enjoyed all that. A lot of cool little projects we're working on here, and just kind of rolling along. So we'll be coming back next week. We're going to do a show next week, and a lot of you guys were asking about that because Christmas Day is on a Friday this year, so we'll be the day after Christmas Day. Everything should be kind of getting back to normal, and we'll be doing a show next Saturday night as usual at our usual time. We've actually got on the show kicked off just about on time for 2 weeks in a row. I think we set some kind of a record here. So it's time to head over to the Q&A, guys, and see what you guys are talking about tonight. And when I checked in earlier, it looked like we had a pretty good crowd here, so we'll see who's all here tonight and do our shout-outs first, and then get to the Q&A part here. Okay, up at the very top, I see Chris with Classic Plastic is here. Nice to see you, Chris. Chris made a couple of announcements about his health situation. He's going in January for some surgery, and he's going to be out of commission for about a week, but then he's going to have about I think he said 3 or 4 weeks off. So hopefully, Chris, you can get a lot of model building done in that time. We'll be looking forward to what you're working on, and sounds like they've got a good plan for you and everything, and sounds like everything's coming along really good. So I've spoken to Chris a little bit about it, and I told him how much I admire how much of a positive attitude he's had through this whole thing, and it's a fine example that you're setting for everybody out there, Chris, and we'll be looking forward to getting you back in the saddle again and back to doing your usual thing. So just keep trucking on there, bud. We got Federation Shipyard here with us tonight. Kenny with Mindless Model Works is here. We talked about Kenny's channel last week. He's got his YouTube channel called Mindless Model Works, and he's always building some really cool stuff. Make sure you guys stop by on his channel and check it out. James Schulenberg is here tonight. Country Woods 9000. Caesar's here tonight. Chuck Brooks is here tonight. Chuck's one of my Uvu buddies. Chuck and I and Armando are up like late hours of the night all week working on our stuff and talking models. It's always a good time. And Dave Pashtag's here tonight. Good to see you, Dave. That base that you made is working out just fine. We're going to, hopefully all of our plan will come together on that. Let's see. We have SF Modeler here tonight. Nice to see you, DeWitt. Leona Timber Company. John Petrie's here. Chris Farrell. Rocket Boy 1969. The usual cast of characters. Glad to see you guys on with us every week. Aussie Trekkie. Scott's posted another couple of updates on his YouTube channel on his dual truck, and also the amazing 1/350 scale. He's actually doing 2 350 scale builds. He's doing a 350 scale dry dock that we showed you a couple of weeks ago, which is fantastic. And I think he's even topping himself when he's going to be doing a 350 scale USS Excelsior. So you guys have to check that out. That's looking really sweet. And man, if you pull that one off, Scott, kudos to you, man. That's a heck of a lot of work. And we have Dan Harris is here with us tonight also. Nice to see you, Dan. Mike Scarola, Federation Shipyard. Mark Shue is here with us tonight. T Commando. George Volkowski. Let's see. I think I got to the bottom already here, guys. Brian Knowles. I see Brian here tonight. Perry Love. Hope I'm not missing anybody. Sometimes it doesn't show on my screen, guys, so I apologize if I don't call you out and you've been here the whole time. Matt Alkire is here. Nice to see you, Matt. 411 Radar. Big Stats. Let's see. Ostrich Longneck. Nice to see you. And Jamie Shiner's here. Jamie, your board is all done. I'll be shipping it out this week. I've already got it all boxed up for you. George is asking if I have a soundboard for Hal. I sure do. I personalized mine a little bit, but I have a standard one that just basically goes through his Halisms, if you want to say that. It lasts about 3 minutes long. So yeah, you can email me at info@trekworks.net and we can get you one of those if you're interested. We have James Frost is with us tonight, eBiker56, Rob Miser. I thought I saw Robert. Oh, Robert Lyon. Nice to see you, Robert. Mr. X Linney 83. Nice to see you. And he's asking about the overall color of the Jupiter 2. Well, it's a the color I painted mine. I did like a not quite a pure silver. I mixed a little bit of black with it, so it was sort of in between a silver and a gunmetal color, I guess. And then I did a little bit of weathering streaks on it. You have your people's choices of whether they want to, the Jupiter looked real clean at the beginning of the series, and then after a while it started looking kind of, it had some streaks and stuff on it from all the travels that it went through and everything, and I wanted mine to look like it had been used a little bit. I can't tell you, I can't tell you like a Tamiya color or something like that because I don't use those kind of paints. I always mix my own stuff. Dan Harris is asking about using the Evercoat and how long does it take before it starts to dry and get flaky. It depends a little bit on the humidity, Dan, but somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes actually before it'll start to set up on you. It's if you guys have ever used epoxy sculpt or epoxy sculpt, it's very similar to that stuff. I really like it because it's not as hard as Bondo, like the old-fashioned Bondo, that you saw using on cars. It's a little bit softer than that, so you can actually sculpt it and stuff before it totally sets. And if you're, I use it a lot for like building up when I've, like on a lot of resin kits and stuff I've worked on that were some of the detail was actually gone and you had to reshape it. You can kind of, it goes on kind of creamy, but then after you sit there and work with it a few minutes, you can start kind of moving it around. It'll kind of stay where you want it, and then you can shave on it with your hobby knife or a little file or something and make shapes with it. And then when you sand it, it sands. The nice thing about it is that when it dries, it doesn't have those little micro pits in it like Bondo does, and it oftentimes doesn't need a, that's what spot putty was always used for, the 3M red spot putty. If you put Bondo on a car and you sand it all down, you're going to have these tiny little micro pits in it, and you would skim coat over the top of that with that spot putty. That's why it's called spot putty. And then that would fill in those tiny little pits. You sand that smooth, and then you're ready for your primer. But Evercoat's fantastic, and there's two different kinds. There's one called Metal Glaze Evercoat, which is for applying on metal objects, and then there's just a regular Evercoat 417, which is actually made to use with plastic. That's what they use for, a lot of the cars now have plastic bumpers and stuff, so you can fix cracks in bumpers and stuff like that with it because it has a little bit of a flex agent in it. It won't crack right away, and it sticks to plastic really good. So that's the stuff you want to get for using, if you're going to use it on your plastic models. It's part number 417, and it will come with a little tube of hardener. It's a two-part. It has an activator that goes with it. So I hope that helps you out. I see Eric Hawkins has popped in. Nice to see you, Eric. And Jim Clark is here tonight. Nice to see you, Jim. Triskellion's here tonight. Marv Solo's here tonight too. Nice to see you, Marv. Names are starting to pop in now. Looks like John's got a sign off. Well, good night, John. Thanks for hanging in there again with us tonight, buddy. Doing a fantastic job on your refit. John had a little bit of a setback with a reaction with his clear coat, but he persevered and sanded it back down and got back on track with that again. Just the one of the emotions you go through with building a lot of models. Sooner or later you're going to have to repair something. Something's not going to go exactly according to plan, and you just stay positive and work your way through it. Somebody is asking about using clear or something. I'm not sure what they mean about which clear did I use or what did I use it on. Mike Scarola says, what type of glue do I use to glue the interior tub in the car? Testers, tube lube. I use just regular testers, Mike. You could probably use canopy glue. Canopy glue. I don't see why not. It would take a little bit longer for it to set up, but I've just always used the regular model glue on that. Eric's asking about the show. Yes, Eric, we're gonna. Saturday falls on the 26th, the day after Christmas Day this year. So we'll have a show this Saturday, and then we'll have a show the following week on the day after New Year's Day. And that'll be fun to do the show on the day after Christmas Day too, because we can find out all the everybody will be able to talk about all the cool model kits they got for Christmas, right? Hopefully you get model kits. I probably won't get any. If I do, I'll have to buy them on my own. I've actually bought myself a couple of Christmas gifts here recently, which were some car kits. I just opened them early. At least that's what I told my wife. Oh, okay. Yeah, I used a matte finish clear coat on the Jupiter 2 after I did all the weathering on it. I guess he was asking about the clear coat on the Jupiter 2. Yep. It's by matte I mean it's not a gloss and it's not a flat. It's the medium, so it has a little bit of a sheen on it. Ostrich is asking about building the NX01 refit. Yeah, I might get that. One of these days I might get around to getting that little 1000 scale kit they have of that. That's a pretty nice kit. Mr. XLinny83 is asking about the 8-foot Enterprise and our new shop. Well, we still have it in our plans. The fellow that was working on the has been doing all the work on the molds and everything on the 8-foot Enterprise is told me that right around mid to end of December is when we could start moving ahead with starting to see some parts. He's been really busy with a lot of other projects, a bunch of Star Wars stuff, and so we should be hearing something on that here pretty soon. I've seen pictures of some of the parts that he's made already, and it just looks absolutely phenomenal. I can't believe it. I can't wait to show you guys everything, and we're just plugging along here, saving my pennies. Hopefully, I don't want to rush things, but I'm kind of shooting for maybe spring, summer of getting into our shop. And it's all about finding the right location. I don't want to be all the way on the other side of town, for security reasons and things like that too. If something happens, I want to be able to get there pretty fast if I have to, and all kinds of things like that. But and then the shop has to be ideally what I'm looking for is something with a sort of a glass window type thing up in front, so I can have like a display area, and then in the back a little bit of office space, and then a little bit farther back than that the work area. So, but there's a lot of property like that here in town. So I've already looked at a couple of places, and we'll find something, and we're still on track. So thanks for asking about that. It's going to be, once it kicks off, guys, it's going to be going full bore. I know it's been a long wait. I've invested a lot of money and a lot of time. We basically had to grow a kit from scratch once we found out that the time slip kit wasn't going to be available, and it's going to be. You think about creating something like that from scratch. It's quite a project, and but it'll be worth the wait. Trust me, everybody. I just wanted to say a quick mention. We made a little sponsor change on the show, and I want to really say a nice and big thank you to Ralph at Tenna Controls. Ralph is a big part of the modeling community. He does a lot of help. He helps a lot of people out, not to mention the excellent products that he sells and his excellent customer service. Many of you guys that have dealt with Ralph, you'll know what I'm talking about as far as whenever you buy something from him, you're going to get he's only a phone call or an email away, and he comes to these hangouts and things like that and works with people. Well, Ralph and I worked something out where Ralph is actually really and truly sponsoring our show now. He's actually helping me pay to produce this show. So I hope you guys will support Ralph and what he's doing and his products. You know, I've used a lot of his stuff. Ralph and I have had a really great long time relationship, and I have a lot of respect for Ralph and his products, and he stepped up in a big way to actually really truly sponsor our show now, and it helps me to improve the show and continue to bring you guys interesting projects here. You know, this stuff was all coming out of my pocket, so bringing all these different kits every week and you know, keeping it new and all that, it gets kind of expensive, and then the time I put into it and everything. So he stepped up really big to that, and I just want to say a huge thank you. And you guys, if you're enjoying the show, you know, you can say thanks to Ralph for helping with that, because he just stepped up really big for that, and it's going to help us out tremendously, and it's going to help me to reach some of the goals that I've got here for making the show better too. So it's a lot to look forward to, and we really appreciate that. Well, guys, I'm showing about 8:34 here. If you guys have any more specific questions, otherwise we're going to call this thing a wrap here, guys. Like I said, we got a lot done on the bench tonight. We'll be back next week, which will be episode 65, and we'll be moving on with some more of these projects. I think I was planning on doing it tonight, but what I'm going to do is next week for sure, I'm going to pick out a couple of these kits here in the background, and you guys are going to get to choose which ones are this week, so I'll be able to show you that all finished up. Oh, before we go here too, I didn't show you guys the interior tub. This is the interior tub for the car all finished up, which you wouldn't have been able to see very clearly as we work on next. I'll be finishing up the Vanishing point, get it all put into the car, but I've got a little bit of wood grain going on in there, and you know, just your basic interior. Got the I didn't do the carpet flocking on this one because it already had a really nice simulated carpet in this. So, but I'm having fun with that model, and overcame a little bit of a challenge on that one too. So it's challenging. It's a challenging challenger. So like I said, we'll have more. We'll have more for you next week, and we'll be starting on some new stuff, and probably think of some stuff during the week too, and carry on, guys. So we appreciate you guys being with us, and we had a good time being on with you guys again tonight, like usual. I'm not going to be able to do the hangout tonight, guys. I've got some stuff I've got to do after the show here, so sorry for that. No hangout this week, but we'll be probably doing that again next week for sure. That way we can chit-chat with everybody and find out what they got for Christmas, and if they got some new kits to work on and things like that, and what their experience was. So, we didn't talk about Star Wars very much either. I hope you guys get a chance to see that. I've been here. I haven't got to see it yet myself, but sounds like everybody that's gone to see it that's a hardcore Star Wars fan is really liking it, and you know, I'm hearing that it's kind of a flashback to the original Star Wars, and it captures that original feeling of it and everything. So that's just great. I can't wait to see it. So no spoilers out there, guys. Hold your tongue in case you've seen it already. We don't want to lose any of the surprises that we might get for that movie. So I'm going to call this one a wrap, guys. We'll see you next week, and you guys have a great week. Merry Christmas to everybody. Be safe out there. Enjoy the time with your families. And we'll be looking forward to that. And then on to the new year. Lots of cool stuff to look forward to. Saw a lot of you guys posting updates on your channels and things about your projects you're going to do this year. So some really, really cool stuff going on all around the community, guys. So take care, everybody. Good night. We'll see you next time. Happy modeling, everyone. Bye.